Hey guys. Okay, so we're going to talk about options when you should or could and definitely shouldn't provide your clients with options. And what do I mean by options? I don't mean like in terms of putting together your package for them or your pricing or anything like that, or putting together the project for them. That's a totally different conversation. I mean options in terms of the copy that you are giving them. Now, do not get me wrong. I'm not talking about doing a whole different version of a piece and giving it to them. Absolutely not. What we're giving people is our best foot forward, our firmest recommendation. But sometimes you can go just a little bit above and beyond by giving them options to test. So for example, if you're working with a client and you are putting together, say, an opt-in page, people clicking through to an ad, they get to an opt-in page, a landing page, and then from there they opt in for something. Well, these are really testable pages, and making little tweaks can have a big impact on the percentage of people that opt in. So what you could do is, if as you're writing you have two different headlines and you're like, ooh, this one is really good and I think this is the one I'm going to go with, but this one is also a really, really good one. And this could work in a different way. What you could always do is send, or when you do the review, the creative review with your clients, whether you do that live or whether you do that via a Loom, kind of walking them through it, you could always let them know that, hey, this is the reason, this is the recommended headline, and for XYZ reason. But I also wanted to send through another option that is still just as impactful, but goes a slightly different direction. And I wanted to send that through so that you could test it if you wanted to. So you're going like a little bit above and beyond. You are demonstrating that you have put a lot of strategy into it. Yes, Elaine says that you've been thinking about it. It shows that you've been thinking about it, and it's a very impressive thing to do for a client. But it's a small little thing. I would not send through a headline, a subhead, a body, all that kind of stuff, because then you're looking at doing the project twice. But when you send through just something else like that, potentially a second headline, or a second subject line, because that's another thing that's easy to test, that can be a really good way to just give just a little extra value for your clients, and really say it just like that. Like, this is the one I recommend for XYZ reason, but I also did come up with another one that comes at it from a slightly different angle, and it could also be impactful. So you know what? I decided to just send that to you as well in case you wanted to test it. Like, how great is that? And it shows that you are putting your client first. Now, when should you not be sending through options? You should not be sending through options before you have come up with your final recommendation. So what I have seen sometimes tends to be newer, but what I've seen sometimes with copywriters is that they send through all of the things they've been thinking about. Like, oh, okay, you need a new subject line for this email. Okay, great. I'm going to send you through 20 that I've come up with. That is terrible. It shows that you need to be sending through your recommendations. When you just send through everything, it looks like you don't know how to differentiate between good work and your only so-so work. You, as a copywriter, need to learn to be able to cull your own work, to go, okay, this is my full brainstorm list. That's pretty good. This one, not so good. This one, ooh, that's really good. Move that to the top. This one, also not so good. This one, not so good. You need to be able to do that, and you need to be able to do that well before it gets to your client. You should not be sending through a list of 10,000 different options. That is not helpful to your client, and it looks like you're just throwing stuff against a wall to see what sticks. It is not your client's job to choose the best option among many of them. And also, that's not where their expertise is. You are the one with the expertise. You are the one who knows what should be the recommendation. So it's your job to go through and make that recommendation. Don't send through a bunch of different options. Cull your work. Get rid of the ones that aren't great. And if this is a scenario in which it is appropriate to send through options, like for example, you could be working with a client and they're like, okay, come up with our tagline for us, and you go through that whole process and they say, all right, we want to see your first round of taglines, and then from there we'll make some, and we'll do multiple rounds because taglines are always multiple rounds. But when I want to see your first batch of taglines, don't send through 30 taglines. Send through 5 in different areas, and then say, if you want to explore, which of these do you feel gets closer? I have some others that are similar to that we could discuss if you'd like in the meeting. But don't just throw stuff at a wall and hope something sticks. That is not the mark of a professional. That is the mark of an insecure, inexpert newbie. So yes, it can be great to give your clients options in a very strategic way. And again, like one option, you're not giving them a whole other second doc or a whole other second piece of copy, and you're not giving a whole copy for the whole page, just a headline. And you're not giving them 10,000 different options. You're saying, oh, I just came up with this other one. So 1, maybe 2, but I don't even think that's necessary. Just 1, because when you're testing 2 at a time. So they would have 2. And again, don't just send through indiscriminately. It's a disservice to your client, and it's a disservice to you as a professional. You look like you are not an expert. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that made it a little bit clearer when it's a good idea to send through options and when it really, really isn't. And again, if you missed any of this, go back to the beginning, because it can be a very easy way to deliver a little extra value and make yourself really shine in the client's eyes and make them really trust you and like you and want to work with you even more.